getting the facts right and alerting you to weather danger. This is KTXS News at 5.
Major decisions from the Supreme Court tonight. It halted the president's immigration plan and upheld an affirmative action policy. We break down the votes and what's next for each case.
More lenient watering restrictions and a ban on texting and driving, all up for the Abilene City Council today. We were there to let you know what was decided.
In a few locations, temperature is actually a degree cooler than this time yesterday. What's the trend for the weekend? Your forecast is coming up.
Big decisions handed down from the Supreme Court today, two of them with Texas at the center. Good evening, everyone. I'm George Levac. Thanks for getting your news with us.
We're glad to see you today. I'm Brave Blanks. Thank you for joining us. The biggest decision, a deadlock from the justices on President Obama's immigration plan affecting more than 4 million illegal immigrants. Lana Zach breaks down what happened.
Outside the Supreme Court today, Merrick Garland. Reporting outside of the Supreme Court, Lana Zach, ABC News.
We wanted to speak with someone who had struggled through the immigration process in the United States. We caught up with Ethel Van Horn. She works at Ranger College, teaching nursing in Brownwood. She is in the process of getting her citizenship after a long journey that involved crossing the border. She had a work visa to teach at a university, but when it wasn't renewed, she returned to Mexico. When the job opened in Brownwood, she took it and hasn't looked back. She said she taught herself English as a child in Panama.
That's the beauty of teaching in nursing. You are doing more because we are preparing more nurses. I love the roads in Texas. That's one thing. I can travel.
Since she has her residence, Van Horn is following the law which states that she has to wait 5 years before she can apply for citizenship. She says she hopes to have an answer by July.
The justices also upheld the University of Texas admissions program. The program considers race when accepting incoming freshmen. The case first came up when a white woman was denied admission to UT and filed a lawsuit challenging the school's affirmative action. The Supreme Court vote came down 4-3 to let the policy stand. Of the court's only 2 minority members, one voted against it, one voted in favor.
Another warm, sunny summer day in the big country. KTXS Chief Meteorologist Mark Rowley joins us now with our first look at weather. Mark?
Yes, indeed, George. That pretty much sums it up. We've got temperatures pretty much mid to upper 90s. We'll look at the weekend forecast coming up.
All right, thank you very much, Mark. Abilene Mayor Norm Archibald announcing a change to the city's watering restrictions during today's city council meeting. KTXS reporter Alicia Rush was there, and she's got the details on what happened. Alicia?
Well, Braid, after a record-breaking rainfall this spring, Mayor Norm Archibald says he's comfortable from going to once-a-week watering to 3 times a week. The days of watering your lawn once a week in Abilene in the rear-view mirror. Archibald says he still recommends keeping it at 1. Tonight at 6, we'll have more details about the schedule, including what times you can water. George?
All right, thank you very much, Alicia. The City Council also deciding today the City of Abilene will not have a texting and driving ban. The vote was 2 for the ban, 5 against. Mayor Norm Archibald and Councilman Kyle McAllister were the 2 members that voted yes. In lieu of the ban, the city wants to help create an awareness campaign to educate drivers on the dangers of texting while behind the wheel. Several members of the council said they think a texting ban is something that should be mandated by the state. We caught up with Chief Stan Standridge after the meeting.
I don't know that I was necessarily surprised by the defeat of the proposed ordinance, but I personally and professionally would like to have seen us do something in the interim until the state ultimately adopts state legislation.
Also on the agenda, council approving a parking rate increase for the Abilene Regional Airport from $8 to $9 a day. Also, Stanley Smith took oath of office as the new city attorney, and the council also approved the purchase of a pothole repair truck, and that will cost the city $175,000. It is coming out of the 2014-2015 surplus budget.
Now is the time to go fishing at Lake Brownwood. The state park says the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department added 250,000 blue catfish fingerlings. They did this on Tuesday. The park says next week the Texas Parks and Wildlife will be bringing largemouth bass to Lake Brownwood. They're expecting a large crowd at the lake next week to celebrate Independence Day.
How about this? Abilene has been ranked among one of the hottest cities in America. That is according to a ranking published by 24/7 Wall Street. Abilene sees more than 100 days that are above 90 degrees every year. Only 20 other cities have more than that. But while Abilene is one of the cities we have more than our fair share of cold as well, Abilene averages 51 days of freezing temperatures, more than all but 6 of the hottest cities.
All right.
There you have it. Yes.
Let's take a look. Today was definitely one of those days overnight.
Yeah, we are running a little bit above normal, but normal high is about 92. So, yeah, it's summertime in Abilene. What can you say? Looking at our live tower cam, we're looking at generally fair skies, just a few fair weather cumulus clouds. Not in that picture, but there are some around. We'll have your forecast coming up next.
Coming up, a man dies in police custody. One by one, the officers head to trial, but so far, none are heading to prison. We're going to break down the latest on the Freddie Gray case.
In a bizarre case out of Germany, a gunman barges into a movie theater there. Everyone makes it out alive. We'll tell you about the police investigation.
Getting the facts right and alerting you to weather danger. You're watching KTXS News at 5 with Bray Blanks, George Levesque, and Mark Rowland.
Democrats in the U.S. House spent a second day on the House floor in a sit-in. They protested the lack of gun control bills being considered in the House. The sit-in lasted 26 hours but ended after the House adjourned for recess. They say they'll be back. Lana Zach explains.
After more than a full day occupying the House floor, Democrats abandoned their position, but they vowed to be back. Lana Zach, ABC News, the Capitol.
Another officer involved in the death of a Baltimore man in 2015 cleared of all charges today. Caesar Goodson was found not guilty on 5 charges, including a murder count. The charges come from the death of Freddie Gray. Gray died from a severed spinal cord after being taken into police custody. Goodson was the officer driving the vehicle that transported Gray to jail.
And a scary situation in Germany this afternoon. Authorities say that a masked gunman stormed a cinema. He took several hostages. Police say they were called to a report of shots being fired. German TV initially said 25 people were injured. After their investigation, police say no one was injured except the gunman, who was killed by police.
Voting ended just more than an hour ago that will decide what is next for Britain and the European Union. Voters hit rain-soaked polls to decide if Britain will remain a member of the European Union. As many as 46.5 million paper ballots will be counted through the night. The UK became a member of the EU in 1973. Final results are expected to be announced tomorrow.
And it's expected to be a close vote, but I did see just within the last hour or so, the Associated Press reporting exit polls show it may well be that they stay in the EU, but it could have far-reaching financial effects if they don't.
Certainly could. We will have to keep our eyes on that tomorrow. You know we will. Next on the news at 5, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Does it really? Well, some new research says it sure does. We'll tell you about that in a minute.
First, though, we'll look at stocks today. Big rallies on Wall Street today. Investors betting on the UK staying in the EU. The Dow ended up 230 points up. The NASDAQ rose 76.
Keep it a healthy weight, stay active, eat a good diet. We hear these things from our doctors all the time. Well, good news, they may actually work more than we think. The American Association of Cancer Research looked at studies comparing people who followed those recommendations to those who do not. Those who stuck to the healthy lifestyles developed fewer types of cancer and died up to 61% less often from cancers. Researchers say doing these things can prevent 1 in 5 people from a cancer diagnosis.
If your family gets the flu mist vaccine instead of the flu shot, you may want to reconsider this year. A Centers for Disease Control committee recommended that the nasal flu vaccine should not be used this upcoming flu season. When looking at flu season data, they found the mist, quote, worked quite poorly compared to the shot. The CDC director must approve the recommendation. It could be a big change for kiddos. An estimated 1/3 of all flu vaccines given to kids are in that spray form.
It was a record-breaking year for the Friends of the Abilene Public Library book sale. That's according to the board president, Matt Preston. The 3-day total was just over $66,000. That beats last year's grand total by about 10 grand. There was a luncheon today at the main library downtown to say thank you to everybody who took part in that sale. Preston says the money they raise is going to go toward buying new books, new library equipment, as well as helping with the cost of that new south branch of the library in the Mall of Abilene. A lot of, efforts are going into making that really nice, so that'll help.
It wouldn't be summer without a few buddies to have fun with. Now you can take care of one of these guys and take one home with you.
Mom and dads know this. Kiddos are home for the summer, and you might need a little something to keep them busy.
A little bit. The Abilene Animal Shelter may be able to help. Here are some pets in need of some summer loving in this week's Rescue the Animals.
You're a good dog. Knows how to sit.
Lots of kittens. You can find these pets and more in person and online at www.abilenetx.com/animal, or head on down there by yourself. Check it out.
We were all commenting on the green vest on the cat.
Live vest for the cat.
That was so cute.
I guess it's a harness to walk the cat.
Maybe so.
Yes.
To walk a cat.
Yeah, you
can
walk a
yeah.
cat.
Maybe not all of them.
Not my cats,
mine
but
either.
I know I have seen some that you can walk.
More power to you if you can wrangle a cat into walking.
There you go. I think you get them used to it very early. We are looking at some warm temperatures. If you're out walking your cat or your dog, it's going to need some extra water because temperatures are still 98 in Knox City, 94 the current temperature in Abilene. Not tracking any cooling showers. It's just full sunshine out there. Going to stay that way. No surprises coming our way or changes. 92 at 7 o'clock. We're down to 73 tomorrow morning. Back in the mid-90s for Friday afternoon.
Thank you, Mark. And we really appreciate you watching our 5 o'clock newscast. Please do join us again at 6.
ABC's World News with David Muir is next. Have a good one.